Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Couch Sessions podcast. We are on episode 10, and I am super excited because I have a lovely, lovely new friend that lives quite a bit away. In fact, she is not in the United States. I am super, super happy to have Kritika on the show. Kritika, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, Kritika is, well, I'll let you tell. Where are you?
I am in New Zealand.
Did y'all catch that? She is in New Zealand and it is Monday in New Zealand and it is Sunday here on the East Coast of the United States and it's quite early, correct?
Yes, it is. We are literally in new day.
Yes, yes. I think it's so cool how we can get on the internet and talk to people in a different time zone and make it work. So it's awesome. All right, y'all. I'm gonna introduce Kritika. I will say to you, if I had one word to describe her, it is fire. That is how I would describe Kritika. She is bold, she is fearless, and she is fire. And she is just a person that she's not going to sugarcoat and she's not about the bullshit at all. And I love that about you, Kritika. Like, I remember when I first seen you on screen, I was just like, oh, look at the aura on this one. It is amazing. I love it. Okay, I'm going to read her bio to you and then we'll get going. Kritika says, I call myself a rebel who doesn't fit in. There's that fire. Who is unfettered and say the dang thing because I truly believe the world needs more realness than another mask. I help people shift their identity from playing small to embracing their fullness. I help people in developing their own beliefs, not borrowed from someone else. I am also a model, Miss Earth New Zealand 2023, Miss Body Beautiful New Zealand 2023. I was featured in a local newspaper on the front page for my story of triumph of how I turned my sad story to an empowering one. I love learning new things. I explore spirituality by observing nature. I am an introvert and deep thinker. Kritika, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Nat. Thank you so much for having me. I am so looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah.
And thank you for introducing me. I love how you said she's fire. I'm like, yes. Bring it on.
Yes,
I
yes.
can already hear this conversation where it's
Mm,
gonna go. So bring it
yes.
on.
Yes. Bring it on. You got your beverage too, right?
Yes, I've got
Okay.
it.
All right. So, Kritika, I know you and I met within a spiritual circle, just a community gathering, and we've had a conversation or two since then, but I just kind of want to just like open you, like have you just open up and just like tell your story, begin to share who you are. We can segue into some of the things that you mentioned in your bio and then the work that you do because you do a lot and I love watching your videos, your somatic dance and just how free you are in expressing and how you want to help others in that. So I'm gonna just give you the floor.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're
First of
welcome.
all, anyone who's listening to me right now, hello. My name is Kirtika, and I am from India, but I've been living in New Zealand for about 11 years now. And talking about my story, sometimes when people ask me, like, tell me your story, I always look at it like, which one? Like, there's so many things that have happened in my life and have shape-shifted me into who I am. So, what I'm gonna share over here, how I came to New Zealand and how I got here and how my journey started of doing this. I'll try to make it short because it's a long one.
Okay.
So I moved to New Zealand 11 years ago, as I said, and around, I mean, as an immigrant, right, we all have this life. We're just into this new country, trying to figure things out. And I was kind of like a shy girl, like trying to
I find that very
figure.
hard to believe. I'm just going to throw that in here. Okay. But okay.
I know. I mean, I was shy because I had this conditioning of being dependent
Mm,
on men or family, but when I got into this new country, I just knew this one thing that now is my time to change.
mm,
Because if I'm gonna be this dependent or shy girl, it is gonna be hard, I
yes.
had to find my place in this country. So I started doing that, and so I moved here in 2015.
Mm,
Around 2018, I came across an accident in my life, which was quite unfortunate. We were on a holiday, and I lost my husband during
mm,
that tragedy. And what happened during that tragedy that, one of those things that you had no choice but to be strong. You just had no
mm,
choice. So I was in a different country at that time when he died, and I had to take his body and everything back to India while I was living in New Zealand.
mm,
And when I did that, all those days in between, I was kind of silent. You know what we call that void, like that in between
yes.
space. You just
Yeah.
don't know, like
Yes.
who you're
Yes.
gonna be. And from that place, what happened? When you said your fire, I'm gonna bring that in because that was the first time fire spoke to me. So when I went to India, I cremated him. That was my birthday.
Mm,
And I remember this exact moment when I was cremating him. The fire element spoke to me. And it was that conversation with the element that I asked because the only question that I had it in my mind was what I'm gonna do. I've never thought of living my life without a man. Like,
mm.
I just didn't know who I was. I had
Wow.
no identity on my own. And I asked the fire that what I'm gonna do. And it spoke to me that how exciting that you're gonna find out who you are.
Mm,
I didn't know what exactly that meant, but all I know and all I can remember that as soon as it spoke, I just got out of that cremation ground and I just started walking backwards. Like as if I just left my old version with that and I just walked back. I chose to came back to New Zealand because even in those days, I just knew that I didn't want to live in that place. I wanted to
mm,
come back and figure things out on my own. Of course, it was a hard journey, but I would say it was so worth it. So, what I did basically, I changed everything.
mm,
I changed my city, I changed my house, I changed my friend group. I literally changed, like revamped everything because I just knew that if I'm gonna live in the same reality, nothing's gonna happen. So I
mm.
moved to new city, started my whole life, and I got my visa sorted because I like when that incident happened, I only had 6 months visa left. So I had to make sure to secure my place
Of
in this new.
course.
So ended up getting a new job, visa got sponsored, and after that, fast forward, I got my residency as well in few years. And how I got into this work of somatic dances that 2 years ago,
Mm,
again, my another awakening after awakening happened where I was doing jobs and I got laid off again and again and again and again. And I just couldn't understand like what was happening. I was always like such a good employee, and I just couldn't like understand. And when it happened the third time, at that time, the element of earth spoke to me in
Mm,
that word space. And I remember this moment even before getting laid off from the jobs. My intuition started speaking up to me that you're going to Bali for a course. You're going to Bali.
mhm,
And I was like, that would be so cool, but I had no idea what the course would be. So I just stayed open to it. One day I had this intuitive nudge to go to this dance class in my suburb. It was like, let's go. And I remember when I was in that dance class, it's like a full body yes. I felt like the ground was telling me like this is it. This is it.
mhm.
And at that time I was also like guiding people through like one-on-one session. It was just like a start of the coaching world. And I asked the girls that, can you please train me in this? I just really loved at this. And they guided me to their teacher, and the teacher is from New Zealand, but they were training in Bali. And at
Wow.
that moment, I just knew that land was calling me. I just went and I got trained. After that, I started offering this medicine to the world because through my own experience of being a trainer as a facilitator, that void space that I went into for a month after the training, again, I just didn't know who I became, but I just knew that people world needed this medicine because I shifted so much. I became so much bolder. My moves, like the way I was moving my body, and not giving a single fuck about what anyone's gonna say. And when I started expressing myself into the social media, I remember this moment. I put up my first video. I was like, what people are gonna like, like
Mm,
there was a part of me who said like, girl, but there was another part of me like a fear of being seen, fear of being perceived. And after that, I was like, it is me who's deciding that. And from there, it was the journey of being bold and again, sharing my story, saying the dang thing, and just helping people understand that your body is always guiding you as long as you listen to it. You listen to your heart, you listen to your
mm.
soul, and just follow that calling. Like your intuition is always guiding you, and I'm here to unlock that in you through my sound, through breath, and through movement. And of course, having strong opinions that I share with people. And I help people to build backbones. Like have your own opinion in life and just go and do the thing. So that's a little bit of about my story.
I got you. You said a lot. Um, I want to go back just a bit. Um, it's powerful, Kartika. And there was a lot that I did not know about you based on what you've shared. And a lot of our previous conversations are starting to, the puzzle pieces are coming together quite finitely as you're talking. I'm like, ah, that's where that came from. This is where this comes from. Especially when you began to talk about the elements, because there's a lot of shamanic stuff in that. And we've had conversations about that. We'll talk about the shaman stuff later. Um, so your husband passed away, and it sounds, does that have anything to do with the inner rebirth name that you, how that
Yeah.
came to be?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's where the inner rebirth started.
Okay. So this situation, your husband transitioned unexpectedly. Based on what you're saying, as I'm gathering. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I imagine at that time you had plans for your life when you were with your husband. You guys had talked and mapped out things, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
gone, just like that. Um, I would have never imagined because I've only seen you on this side of your journey and you being introverted and quiet and shy. That's why I was like, I have a hard time believing that. But I'm understanding it now. It's almost like you had this awakening, this inner awakening experience that created this boldness. And then you were talking about the fire talking to you. So I want to ask in that time, especially with your ex-husband, former husband, transitioning, did you navigate any stages of grief? And what was that like? And then, kind of mourning the life and maybe even the plans that the two of you had as a couple together. And then here comes this opportunity for you to embrace this new life. Tell me about that in between part and how that
Mm,
was emotionally for you.
mm, I think definitely there was a lot of complex emotion involved in it. There was a shock, there was just frustration, there was anger, there was, I mean, at the end of it, after all the emotions, there was a grief, right? But I feel like in the beginning years, I just did not have the capacity
Mm,
to go through it because, as I said, I only had 6 months visa left. So
hmm.
for me, my priority was to get that first.
Yeah.
So I just went that way. And for me, how grief looked like was just on my own. I had days where everything just felt like pale and bland. And there were some days I was like, life is so good, you know?
Hmm.
And I think it was a quite a dance in all those stages of, you know, how you go through the denial phase and you go to the acceptance and then you have the anger. I did go through it, but for me, what happened from there to right now, a lot happened in that phase that even so when I lost him, I was only 25. And within 5 years, again, I lost my dad. So for
Hmm.
me, in that stages of like when I was slowly like grieving, there was another thing happened for me. And for me, again, there was like, I've done this before, I can do it again.
Hmm.
And again, after the my dad's as well, there were a few things again happened, which I still I'm still processing,
Hmm.
but I'm not able to share it with the world yet because it's one of those things I feel like it's for the book that I'm gonna write. And
Mm.
I call it plot twist because how it unfolds is like, wow.
Hmm.
So for me, it didn't look like, you know, like a straight linear path. For
Hmm.
me, it was always like going this way, like how my movement
Right.
is. For me, grief always felt like a non-linear path for me.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. Um, I love that you call it plot twist. Um, and how that it can shift and going through the stages of grief and then hearing that you lost your father behind that after some time. And I like how you said, okay, you've navigated this before. You can navigate through this too. Um, I just think it's so interesting how our lives can change and shift so quickly. And when you're in the stages of grief, we can't fully see what's coming and how that's going to transform us. I had no idea. I'm going to insert myself for just a minute as somebody who can relate to this just a bit, a little different, but relate to it. I didn't know in 2019. I knew I was going to write a book because I had the download for it, but I was going to write it under a different format. And then in 2 months' time, getting sick, having a near-death experience for a year, almost 3 years. And it totally changed the format of how I was going to write my book, having to go through that. So I think the plot twist title is it's like appropriate for so many things, not just a book, but just in general. I had no idea that what I was going to go through for the next 3 years was going to shape and form me into who I am now. I didn't know that person yet. And it sounds like you had a similar experience. You're feeling this call to go to Bali to learn something, and you had no idea what was going to meet you there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So but I think what's so beautiful about it, Kartika, is you said something that is so powerful. I had a full body yes.
yeah,
And I feel like every human being on this planet, it's there. It is there.
yeah,
And the the pain in the ass voice that tries to tell you something different, you have to decide who's going to get the louder voice. Because if your body is telling you, that's how you know.
yeah,
That's how you know.
exactly.
So I
Yeah,
want you to
but
speak into that a bit.
I mean, I feel like our body always tells us. It's always communicating to us. And it's not like it's gonna be like a one moment like electricity is gonna strike into you. It's talking to you every single day, like even in the small things in your life. Have you ever had a craving in your life? Like,
Hmm.
I just want to eat this. Like, whenever you have that, you're like, yes, it's a full body, yes. It's one of those things, and it's the
Yes.
same thing as a craving for something to pursue. Like, you have this burning desire to just go at it.
Hmm.
And the thing is, when we have that, that's where that inner critique comes in,
Hmm.
the past conditioning comes in. But what they're gonna say, what is gonna happen, and what if doesn't happen that way? It's like you just have to block those noises and
Hmm.
ask yourself. I always tell myself this, that if it's my last day on this planet, and especially someone who has seen two deaths like right in front of me, it has changed completely my point of view on life. That if it's my last day on this earth, am I going to be second guessing my intuition? Am I going to be
Hmm.
asking myself that shall I do this, shall I not, or this? I'm just gonna go and do it and then allow myself to integrate what I learned from that. And I
Right.
know it can be scary too, because our past experiences kind of creep into us, which tells
Hmm.
us like, oh, but it didn't go the right way last time. For me, travel, when I went to Bali, it wasn't easy because you know how I had like such a traumatic event happen through travel. So for me, travel wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna do like a solo traveling, gonna go and become a somatic dance facilitator or something like that. For me, it was getting rid of the fear of traveling.
Hmm.
Whereas I love traveling too. So for me, it was like, I got this. Nothing bad is gonna happen. I'm gonna go there and meet new people, meet new world. Of course, my nervous system got a little bit of like, I, especially in Bali, like if you have been to Bali, that land will show you right on your face what is underneath.
Hmm.
And it just came all at the front. I was like, my gosh, all these fears are right in front of me.
Hmm.
And I had to
Hmm.
face it. And that's where your body, you get to develop that relationship, like with little by little, just develop that relationship that like my body is saying this. Can I honor that? Can I honor that little bit? And then come back. What did I learn from that experience? Okay, I can do this with the bigger things now. So our body just knows.
Yes, you're right. Our body knows, and it is constantly talking, but are we listening? And I think there was something that you said too along the lines of conditioning. I think the conditioning, if we allow it, can have the greater voice. And, you were talking about like, I'm gonna live like today was the last day that I'm supposed to be in the planet. I can relate to that on so many levels, having being sick and having to learn how to walk again and get my quality of life back. When I was bedridden, it was like, when I get up out of here, when I'm able to get up, I am going to not allow myself to fear and shrink back.
Yeah.
Because, the conditioning would say, well, that's too risky, or, be careful because if you do this, there's that. I think fear is it is something that drives so many things. And I feel like we can miss out on wonderful experiences if we allow fear to be the greater voice. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
you and we all, I mean, and that is, we could really get deep with this because that's something that I feel like it's not a one and done. It's constantly coming up. It's gonna, something else is gonna come up and it's gonna go, okay, now you said this. Let me show you this. And it's not to punish you, it is to give you the opportunity to go through that. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to do that. And guess what? Something else is going to come. Something
Yeah.
else is going to come, and they're going to keep coming and keep coming. But your strength and the resiliency grows and it develops. And it's like, when you don't work out, your muscles get atrophy. It hurts like hell by day two. But once you've exercised that muscle, just like you said, okay, when your father passed, you're like, I've seen this. I've been through this before. So I know I'm already equipped to face what this is
Mm.
going to bring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And thank you for sharing about your journey as well, that how um even in the I feel like we have our things that we want these things to go our way,
Hmm.
and then something happens. That's the point where the fear kicks in. You're like, oh, the fear of uncertainty, like, what's gonna happen here? And
Hmm.
if we just loosen our grip in that, and of course, you must have experienced it as well when you were in that phase, you start to understand that faith and the fear is kind of like on the same pendulum. It takes, I think, equal amount of effort to be
Hmm.
fearful and an equal amount of effort to be faithful, because we can't see both,
No.
right? But
Mm-mm.
one paralyzes us and doesn't let us take action towards the very thing that we want. But on the other side, if we just be like, universe, I know you got me.
Yeah.
I know you got me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because I got me, you know?
Exactly. And the universe always has our back. That's something that I have said for years on end is the universe has our back. And even when we can't see it, it's there and it shows up. And then it's just confirmation. I got you. I got you. I'm going to segue just a little bit. Um, it says that you were featured in a local newspaper, about your story. And you're a model. I mean, hello, look at you. Um, Beautiful. Um, when these opportunities began to roll out, um, did the fear talk to you?
Mm,
And do you mind sharing, navigating through that and accepting? Because I mean, I think if I remember correctly, you've been a speaker before as well. Like when these things started to happen, um, what was that like for you?
mm. Very good question because that's another type of fear started to
Hmm.
come in. So it wasn't just the pageant that I won. It was leading up to that. So I'm gonna share how my modeling journey actually started.
Hmm.
It started during COVID because I was just at home with someone who has access to internet and I downloaded TikTok. I was like, let me just explore this app. And I saw one of the videos, acting videos of one of the girls that I knew from back home. It was so fascinating. I was just like really curious, like how she was doing it. And I was like, oh yeah, let's try it. And I
Hmm.
started doing it and I got like really good at it. I didn't know that I had that side in me. I mean, during childhood, I liked to like dress up and started talking in front of the mirror. That was kind of like a thing. But when I started doing it, um, so what exactly happened from that? I got an opportunity to be in a music video through TikTok. Someone from another city where I'm living in reached out to me, and he was like a quite a big producer as well. And he's like, "Do
Wow.
you want to do it?" I did not think twice. I was like, "Let me know when to come, and I'll be
Hmm.
there." So I did, and I did that. But the fear started after that. So
Hmm.
when I did that, uh, we published the videos and everything on the YouTube. It's still there if someone wants to watch it. Uh, I've done two videos. Both are above 1 million views and stuff. So there was like a lot of visibility. So what happened with that visibility that the people that I knew and a very close people started projecting things onto me that how I was behaving in my life. As in, because I come from a very strict culture, like how after when your husband dies, you don't do certain things, you don't look at that way, you don't wear this and that. But for me, I am free, like I like to express and I want like to rebuild my life. And I was rebuilding my life that way as well. But for them, it was not very acceptable. And in the beginning, I just had to like really chill down. I was like, I let them just be. But it got to a point where I was doing like the second video that I did, it just got to a point where it just got like very toxic for me to have access to my life and having a say about my life, how I want to live, just because my marital status changed, like, and that was a quite a journey of building that self-worth as well, that as a woman, my worth is not attached to my marital status or a man. I can just do things for myself,
That
right?
part, that part. Say that again.
Like my worth is not attached to a man or my marital status. As a woman, I can do things for myself.
Hmm.
And who are you to say all those things? So I had to cut off a lot of people. It was like
Hmm.
not even an explanation. I was like, you know what? F you. Like I just did that. And after that, it got to a point where I wanted to explore this side of me. And I joined a pageant. It was like a very random thing. I like to do random things. Like I would just get this random urge and I would just go do it. I had this thing, random urge that I would love to be in a pageant. And I applied for it. I was sitting on my couch. I looked on Facebook, is there any pageant in New Zealand? And I applied for it. And the director, she was like, yep, in. I got selected. I used to go to like workshops in another city.
Mm.
I ended up winning the pageant.
Oh,
That was
wow.
so cool. But the thing is, like, I manifested that because I just knew, like you sometimes you just know, like you got this, like you are the one. I mean, who else is gonna win? It's gonna be me. I'm the queen. And then, and the thing is, like, I even walked to that runway or whatever as if I've already won,
Hmm.
and I won it. After that, when that story got featured in the local newspaper, I wanted to put it in a way, I wanted to express myself in a way that I wanted to give message to the woman that you can change your story. Like it's not the end of the world. Like something happened in your life and it just doesn't have to be the full stop. You get to
Hmm.
decide where to put the commas, where to change the page, where to put a new font in, and just have like little plot twist in there, right?
Right.
So it was a lot of coming back to myself again and again and having that backbone that this is what I want and I'm gonna go for it. You can't project on your insecurities to me. Let me just go my way. Yeah.
And that is, I'm so glad you said that. People projecting their own insecurities or their own limitations and thought processes and thought patterns onto you. Um, and that you, I love how you said you're just like, F them. I'm next. And you have to have a house cleaning like that sometimes. Like we're not talking topical cleaning. We talking deep baseboards and deep spring cleaning. Like I'm cleaning house big time. And I think it's healthy because you realize also your life, you as an individual, you're changing. We're not supposed to stay the same. We're supposed to be evolving. We do evolve if we allow it, right?
Yeah.
Those people were not meant for the next chapter.
Yeah. It was just a season. And I don't want to add, I do want to add one thing as well. It was a lot of people. It was a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And even I think it was a journey of learning how to choose better people in my life as well. Um, I think a lot of the friend groups I had to just leave because I think a lot of the people can relate to this that when you start to achieve better things in your life, you start to see true colors of people.
Hmm.
And that's where I had to leave a lot of friend groups as well, where I was getting mocked behind my back for my achievements. At that
Hmm.
time, it didn't make sense to me, but eventually, universe does the cleanup in your
Yeah.
life. So I do want to say this to someone who's watching it right now, and of course, they might have experienced these things, or they might be experiencing that where they're just losing people and they're wondering, like, what is happening? Just know that you are learning who gets to deserve a seat at the front in your life. That's
Hmm.
it.
That's it. And
Mm.
it's not I seen something recently and I said I'm taking this and I'm going to chew it up and swallow it and I'm never spitting it out, but I'm going to spit it out now in the way of being helpful. It's not that
Yeah.
you lost relationships, it's that you completed the relationship. You
Mm.
completed it. It was time. You spent enough time. You completed that relationship. You
Yeah.
wish them well, and sometimes you have to just do it silently out in your mind or out in the air. Bless them. I wish them well. I'm going this way. And it's nothing, you're not wishing anything bad. You just realize that your time there is complete.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's no, I think one of the things that I struggled with personally is not wanting closure.
Mm.
Sometimes the closure is the silence.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the closure sometimes. Silence. You just know you're completed it. That's it.
Mm.
Okay, I'm gonna pivot again. Girl, we could be on here for 2 hours, but we're not gonna do that today.
Yeah.
I want to go back to you and the somatic dancing and the coaching because you've been doing a lot of marketing about that, and I love your videos. They're very raw, and you don't hold nothing back in your videos, and there's this vulnerability, but there's this boldness that comes forth that just I see the divinity and your humanness come at the same time, the duality of both. And I'm just like, oh, I love this. Okay. So talk about that, please.
Somatic dance is fun. It just feels like one of those things like getting paid to exist, you know?
Hmm.
And I think when I say somatic dance, it's not always like this choreography thing that I
Hmm.
am telling people take a step back and take a step here and there. It's not that. And if someone has never heard somatic dance before, in simple terms, it is basically listening to the sensation inside your body and then following that sensation, how it guides you. Because your body holds water. There's a lot of water here, right? And when we suppress, whether
Hmm.
it could be emotion or the things that just makes us feel too much, when we suppress, the energy gets stagnant
Hmm.
and it has nowhere to go and nowhere to move. That's why a lot of the people in this world, like you look at it like the body posture would say everything that it needs to say, like how much someone is open and how much someone is closed,
Hmm.
right? So basically, I help people open up,
Hmm.
like open up gently and sometimes like fiercely as well. Like depends like which body part we're working with. But it's basically following that sensation in your body that what it is asking you to bring that to the surface, feel it, process it, digest it, and just let it go.
Wow.
Let it go. And from there, what we unlock is the new frequency, which is
Hmm.
basically the other side of it. So let's say if I'm working with someone regarding their sensuality, like a lot of the people who suppress their sensuality, they hold a lot of shame, especially in
Hmm.
the sacral center, right? So, what they can expect after the session when we go through that, they unlock that pleasure in them.
Hmm.
They unlock within like weeks. A week or two, they'll be like, "Ooh, I feel like saucy. I feel spicy." That kind of side that starts to come in. That's just one piece of it, right? And how I do it is I do through sound, breath, and movement. So, sound, my sound, their sound that they're gonna make, like through humming, screaming, or just like a lot of sound, plus the soundscape that I make with my playlist. I'm learning DJ, by the way. It'll be like really level up soon.
Yes.
But right now with the playlist, so it goes through a wave.
Hmm.
You can imagine it like an ocean wave. So over here, when someone is in my space, we kind of bring you back to the earth first because a lot of things are happening in the world, and when they come into the space we bring them back to the ground so that the nervous system doesn't feel like too shaky what we're going to experience. So it's like us building a strong foundation as we come in, and from there we start to build the intensity slowly, and we get to this peak where I mentioned that you process and you digest. What it looks like is, for example, someone that was working with the sensuality and letting go of the shame. Over here in the peak state, they were like jumping, they were like moving in a way, they were like twerking. I will be guiding them to just let that wild side come in. What happens when in the peak state is we are here for about 10 minutes or so because the body has to like really release that, right? And when we do, from there, I guide them to expand their nervous system, to to open themselves up to this new nervous system state that they have just experienced. So for example, before that it could be like a lot of the shame people feel when like they feel
Hmm.
collapsed. Over here they start like experience like, oh, I don't have to collapse anymore. I can, expand. So over here, they start to unlock, but they don't know how it's going to show up in the world. Whereas after that expansion, I bring them back to the integration so that the nervous system doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Right.
The body can be like, okay, I can come back to the ground. And when I help them to come back to the ground, we end the session with Shavasana. Complete
I love
silence. I allow
Shavasana.
them. Oh,
I
it's
love
so good. And
Shavasana.
it's so necessary as well because whatever you have experienced in the ether, because you access so many different dimensions, that has to be integrated by body. Like, hey, come back to this human body. I know you access that divinity, you access those ancestral
Mm,
knowledge, but come back. So my work is basically like holding this big, massive space for this human as well as the spirit to come back to their wholeness, whether it's through boldness, wildness, their softness, the whole spectrum of it. I get to witness it, hold it, and bring it back to the earth and ground them. And from there, I offer them like, okay, you go back into the world, just remember I'm here, and what I have noticed from this work for myself and the other people that I've worked with, they are different. Like, they are so different. I've seen women going from like really shy, not speaking about the thing, and just going on the camera and be like, you know what, this is what I'm selling, this is what I'm, offering. I have seen women who did not have their periods for like 4 months. In week, they have gotten their periods.
hmm
I have seen people like there's so much spectrum I have seen in the space that it always surprises me, like how movement, sound, and breath can actually unlock so many opportunities, like so many things in someone. So I'm so grateful that I get to hold that space and I help people expand.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. There's um so much that you said in the way of, it being like a wave and what's stored in the body and if the person is open or closed, but there's activation in it. But I love the fact that you're like, okay, now we got to do the integration piece. There's so much power in sound that comes from us humming is huge. Just sound, period, and then moving your body. Stuff gets stored. Stuff gets stored and it has to move. And you're talking about our bodies, there's a lot of water. There's a lot of opportunity for shit to move
Yeah.
and things to change. And it does not surprise me that you're getting these manifestations of women who come back and they have this new level of boldness. They're getting their cycles and they haven't had their cycles. It's really powerful. It's just really, really powerful. And when I see you do it, it's powerful to watch. But I love the fact that you are just like, I don't care. I'm doing it. And I imagine, let me pose this question. Each person and how they're going to move, it looks different depending on what's going on with the person's body.
Yeah, it is very different. And I always say this, my space that I create and whatever I guide, it's always an invitation. So it's not an instruction that
Mm-hmm.
move your body this way. It's an invitation that, yes, I'm guiding the movement. But if I'm saying, even in the peak, if I'm saying like scream or shake it body, if you don't feel that, don't listen to me. Do your own thing. What I'm really guiding people is to honor that inner voice.
Mm,
And I also want to touch a little point here that it's not just the part that I explained, it goes a lot with it. Like we are working with the tantra here as well, because that energy within us and the spirit that is working through us, we start to connect with that spirit as well. So for me, personally, for me, what I have experienced in the sessions, that I'm in different dimension. Like sometimes I get messages from someone's ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
deliver this message, and in every session there's no script that I'm following or anything. I'm just showing up as a vessel, and after the session as well, I have no idea what I have spoken. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no idea, nothing. It's just pure opening a channel that what wants to come through me. And that's where I also guide people as well, that if you start to hear any voice, if you start to feel any presence around you in the room as well, honor that
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot going on, like a lot going on an energetic perspective. So make sure that if you feel fearful, don't lean towards it. Lean towards faith that this energy is here to help me move.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes the things can be so heavy that the ancestors or the angels, or those otherworldly energy starts to come in, and just be open towards that it is helping me to move through that. So
Mm-hmm.
for me as a facilitator, I have to really be discerning who I work with, because I feel like it is so important for me to honor the person who I'm working with, that can I actually hold a space for this person, or can I open my vessel as well for for the channeling to happen. So it is kind of something I feel like I have tried to run away from. I still do run away from it. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like you just can't run away from yourself, you know?
Mm-mm. No.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that you mentioned you have to really have discernment about who you work with. And if it's going to be okay for you to hold space for this person. I think that's very wise. I see that even in the energetic work that I do. It's sometimes it's like, okay, I need to refer you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need you to refer you to this person. I think that is very wise. Kritika, do you believe it's been almost an hour?
I think so.
Okay. I feel like it went.
Let me see. Yeah, oh my
I
gosh.
know it went by super, super fast. So, one of the things that I want to kind of end with is advice that you would offer up for anybody that's can relate to various parts of your journey and they are trying to come home to themselves and honor um, who they are and allow it to come out into the world. What would you say to them?
Hmm. Well, what I would say, that when you listen to someone, when you look at someone, or when you come across someone, there's always this spark that comes alive in you. Honor that, because we as human being, we are transmitting. So that transmission activates something in them as well. So let's say if someone is shy, or if they're going through this hard stuff and they are watching someone, like someone is confident in speaking their truth, which means that you hold that in you as well.
Mm,
But at the same time, what I would say is that navigation journey looks like, when you're coming back to yourself, is more so about being honest with yourself. You get to a point where the outside world can inspire you, but that inner journey, that inner rebirth, happens when you're so honest with yourself that is the identity that I am holding on to matches with the life that I am building.
Mm,
That one question will help you so much to make the aligned decision. And nothing is more powerful than having the power of a decision. Once you have a decision, your identity will not need anything else, it will shift because now your behavior will shift. So if you were not feeling confident, if you choose just today, in this moment, that I can act a different way, that will unlock something in you. So I would just say lean into the power of decision making. And that's where you realize that small decision every day, you look back and you will thank yourself that I'm so proud that I took that decision. It might sting a little bit, you will question a lot,
yes.
but you will thank yourself to take that decision and never regret, never quit on yourself. Always believe in yourself.
That is beautiful. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I have enjoyed listening to you, learning more about you, and um, all of the precious, wonderful gemstones that you carry on the inside of you. It is a real, just a joy and a blessing to be in conversation with you and to be building community with you. And you're on the other side of the world.
Mm.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're very inspiring. Um, and I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really do. It's been absolutely wonderful having you.
Oh, thank you so much, Nat. Thank you. I really enjoyed our couch session together. It's
Yes.
been a lovely space to that you cultivated to let my mind speak
Hmm.
and my truth. You gave a platform to bring my truth as well. And it's just a beautiful journey of humaning that how we get to meet different souls in a human body and just
Yes.
tell our stories, and
Hmm.
share our medicine through our transmission. And now
Yes.
we are just a vessel for other people to who are gonna listen, be like,
Hmm.
hey, come join in, come to
Yes.
the couch session.
Yes. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you guys, we are coming to the end of our episode. I will be linking all the places that you can follow Kirtika Inner Rebirth. Um, take the somatic class with her. I know she has something coming up soon. Um, it's going to be amazing, and I think you guys are going to enjoy learning from Kirtika. So, as always, I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Our next episode will be coming soon. Look for details of that. And do not forget, your life has purpose. You are on this planet for a reason. People need to know that you are here and they need to hear from you. See you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in.